coverage you can count on. This is On the Record with Barbara Gaucher.
Hello, everyone, and welcome into On the Record. I'm Barbara Gaucher. Thanks so much for being with us today. And today we are joined by a local television broadcasting legend. Please help me welcome Dee Armstrong. Dee, so great to have you with us today.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
It's my pleasure.
Well, of course, you are the midday anchor right now, currently, WTVM, as well as the 4 p.m. anchor on our sister station, WLTZ, NBC 38. But, of course, people in the Chattahoochee Valley have been watching you for some 40 years or so on television.
And they let me know. I said, I grew up, I went to the military, I retired, and you're still here.
I know.
I said, yeah,
well,
I'm still here.
It's great that you're still here.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, 40 years in this business, in this community. I mean, that is quite an accomplishment. How are you feeling about that?
You know, it's different now because my children are adults. You know, when they were younger, it's like I needed a job. I've got to feed them. Their father died when they were very young. So there was that being responsible mom and taking care of them. But now they're adults, and I just come because I like it. You know, so it's different. It's different.
Do you feel like I don't know? Do you feel like it's been 40 years that, all this time has passed? I mean, that in this business, that's a lot of time, but maybe not a lot of time.
It goes really fast. And I think because you don't remember everything that happened, you remember pockets of things. So it seems like it went kind of fast, you know, because there are things people will ask me and I'll go, okay, I probably was there. I probably did do that, but I don't remember.
Yes. I know. It's very fast moving when you think back on all the stories, and you've done many, many stories over the years. You started out as weekend anchor at the competition at WRBL when you were just 19 years old. Yeah. And at that time, the youngest weekend anchor in the country. How did that all come about? How did you end up getting into TV?
Well, you never know who's watching, right? So I'm at Columbus High School, and I was really kind of I'd like to sit in the back and cut up. So I would cut up and I'd have fun. But when the teacher came in, you know, I was the studious person. So you don't know that teachers are watching you. I always made A's and had good behavior. So at a certain point, there were not a lot of blacks on the air. You know, we had Ed Bradley. There were a couple.
Carol Simpson, maybe.
And Carol Simpson. Carol Simpson, yes, and Ed Bradley, yeah. We had one or two that were in journalism. And there was, I don't know if there was a formal pressure, but there was kind of a pressure to get more people of diverse colors on the air. And so someone said, and it was Ed Harbison, Senator Harbison. He had helped me get a job in high school doing the weekend news at WDAK, which was the #1 station then. Right. And he said, you know, I hear that Dick McMichael is looking for someone, and I want you to go over there and see what you can do. And so I just was, okay. And so I didn't really plan to go into television. So I went over there, and I had always liked to read and to write. He gave me a story about one of the old schools off of Hamilton Road that was closing, and now I think it's some sort of day center for adults or something. And back then it was closing. And he said, this is the story, and I'm going to send this reporter with you. And I remember that guy, he came out of Dothan, and he said, if you have any questions, you know, I'll answer the questions. So I did the story. and so I wrote the story, did the stand-up, and I went back, and they edited it, and Dick said, okay, yeah, you know, I can work with you. And so that's how it all started. I was coming out of high school, going into Columbus State, which was Columbus College back then. Yeah. And so, so that's how it happened. And I said, okay, I'll take it. And I don't think I understood the gravity of it all until I got into the newsroom with those professionals. They were so professional, and their standards were so high. I was like, man, you know, and here I am, you know, and they worked with me. They didn't seem resentful at all that here I am. They went to college. They've won awards. They're on a #1 station. Right. And here I come off the streets, you know. Yeah. And
well, that was going to be part of my question. Were you welcomed in with open arms? I mean, because that was a time where it could have gone either way,
They were very welcoming. Do you know Sam Hall? He's in Atlanta. I think he was one that worked for the transportation department in PR. He left here and went there. He was one of them, but very welcoming. I still talk with him. He'll still call me when he sees a story. I didn't feel any ill will from any of them, and I was always grateful for that, because they had a right to not. They had to do a lot more than I did to get in there, but they understood that they had to correct some unfairnesses. Yeah.
Right. And so how'd you get from there to WTVM, where you were for the bulk of your career in Columbus, and part of a top-rated team as well during all that time?
When I left, when I was at Channel 3, this is the crazy thing. I have never really applied for a job. I've always been asked, "Will you come?"
Yeah.
So
which is
I don't know
blessing.
if I don't know if that's good or bad.
I think it's a blessing.
So I'm working at Channel 3, and I get a call from a news director in South Bend, Indiana, and he says, "What do you think about leaving Columbus?" And I'm like, "Well, hadn't really thought about it." And the money, because South Bend is they had unions, so the money was tremendous,
Right.
And I had been there for about 2.5 years. And so I said, yes, I'll go. And so I ended up going to South Bend, Indiana for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And then I came back to Columbus.
Back to the Columbus, and as they say, the rest is history.
Yes, and stayed here. Yeah.
Well, you have received numerous awards over your time on television, and most recently, the Georgia Association of Broadcasters announced that you're part of their class of this year, inducted into their Hall of Fame. And I think we're running video now of when you got the news, and it was a surprise to you that you were being inducted into their Hall of Fame. That ceremony going to happen in March. How does that make you feel, Dee? You're a Hall of Famer.
When you're reporting, especially coming up as a reporter, because I was a reporter for years too, and we still are reporters.
Yeah.
You don't know if people are respecting what you're doing. Sometimes you don't know if they appreciate what you're doing, and things that go on in the newsroom where you're having to work with people and deal with people, and so you just don't know. Does anybody care?
Is anybody really watching?
And so when someone says, yes, we care and we appreciate what you're doing, I said, oh, that's fantastic. So I feel appreciated and kind of validated. So I like that. I like that my life's work meant something to somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we certainly do appreciate you, Dee.
Oh,
and
thank you.
Your life's work definitely, I feel like you open doors for not just myself, but so many people in this business today. But we're going to have to take a quick break.
Okay.
We're going to come back. We're going to talk much more about your storied career and also some of the things that you like to do when you're not doing the news.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Which is interesting. All right, we're going to take a break. Be right back. Stay with us. Back. Welcome back to On the Record, and today we are joined by longtime news anchor veteran Dee Armstrong. And Dee, again, great to have you with us. You've been in this business in Columbus for some 40 years. And I know you've covered a lot of stories, and I've heard you say you love telling the stories of people in Columbus. Tell us about some of your most memorable stories, most memorable times.
Oh gosh, I guess the first one was I came in to the business around the time of the Stocking Strangler, and so Dick McMichael allowed me to go with him a lot. So that's one of the most memorable. Just popped in my mind just then, learning how those types of stories are covered, and then interacting because the networks were here. Networks were coming in, watching Dick McMichael. This is how he handles himself in this situation, and then seeing what he saw and wondering, what is he going to write? How is he going to make this a story? And then being just scared to death because
because the networks are here.
people were being killed.
People
were being killed, and one of the stories he allowed me to do was about the sale of deadbolt locks. So that's one of them. Yeah.
In response to that awful story at the time in the Chattahoochee Valley, one of the questions that I'm often asked by people when they talk about being in this business is, what is the hardest part? What has been the most difficult part, do you think, about doing this job?
What is the hardest part? I guess that would change at different times. The hardest part maybe was raising kids, at one time, and raising kids and trying to be present here, and letting the kids know that, I care about everything you're doing, and I would just take the kids with me a lot of times. And what they don't know here at the station was kids were running around here, my kids, David Platter's kids, the weather guy's kids. Yes. And so we would bring the kids to the station when you weren't here, trying to make that, do the family thing. Maybe that in the early years. And then because when we started, there wasn't that much news on the air. And so you had a lot of control over what you wrote, making your own phone calls and that sort of thing. And I think now now you have more hands in a story, more hands in a story. So that's been a little bit adjusting, and I don't know that I'll ever get used to that, because I want to talk to the person and I want to know that this is the fact, but now you have a lot of people that will help you and say that they researched it. And I like to go down that rabbit hole myself, so that's a change. So I'm not saying it's wrong. Right. What I'm saying is that, for my personality, I like to do it. Yeah. I like to do it. I like to write. I like to produce. And at this point in my career, I guess being on air is not number one. I don't even think it ever was number one. I was always liked the writing, and I always liked the storytelling, and I liked meeting the people.
Yeah. There's nothing like telling a good story, and then seeing the impact that story has on someone's life or on the community, and bringing about some type of change. I mean, to have feeling like what you did really had a purpose. Yeah. I mean, would you agree to that?
Yeah, I do agree with that. At one point, I'll tell you, Columbus was so slow. The lead stories were like, there was a wreck on Macon Road, a 2-car wreck.
That's still a big story, by the way. But
and no one was hurt.
I got you. Yeah.
And so we'd rush to that wreck and we'd cover the wreck. Yeah. And so things have changed so much. But I think now what we have is deciding world events. Deciding things that affect people. Like we did a credit card story today. Do you want to, I guess we could have done that kind of story then, but now it comes so fast and so quick. Do you want to get one of the credit cards that's not going to charge you right now for a year? And then, I love being able to do that kind of story, because there are people out there who they have credit cards and the interest is so high, and I feel good. And I'll tell, producers, let's do this one, because there's some people out here that need this opportunity. So let's make sure we get that in there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mentioned that we're going to talk about some of the things that you like to do when you're not on the news, and let's get to that, because one of the things that I know that you're very active in and very excited about is the theater and doing. I know a lot of times you're acting, maybe even writing and directing some of it. Tell us about that experience and what you love so much about that.
Gosh. I think that's just me. Just me.
I don't think so. I like the theater too.
Yeah. I mean, that's who I am.
I got you.
Yeah, that's who I am.
Gotcha.
I don't know where it came from. Maybe from my mother. My mother was always very dramatic when we were growing up, but she wasn't ever on a stage or anything. But she always she would read to us, and she would say, "Read with enthusiasm. Read." If you see a period, slow down. You see a comma, and maybe that. But I've always enjoyed even doing church productions. In acting and singing when I could, But between work and kids, I was never able to focus on it like I can now. Yeah.
Yeah. And so what kinds of things are you writing, performing, or all of the above?
Yeah, I've written a couple of performances that and taken them to some artists in town to listen to and to see, and have gotten the green light. So when I'm going to do it, I don't know, but and written the music and that sort of thing. But most of what I'm doing and active in now is working in someone else's production. When I leave Channel 9, I think I will do some of my own productions, because that's huge. That would be kind of hard to do and work full time. Yeah.
Well, you're going strong right now. I mean, any idea at this point when you plan to leave, or do you...
I don't know. Every time I plan to leave, I take on something else. I just bought another piece of property, and I'm like, okay, I want to pay that off before I leave. You know.
Well, we hope that you will stay forever. And you brought up another good point about that property thing. I think that's another thing that I've read that you're very active in, not only purchasing property, but actually doing some of the refurbishing, renovating yourself, doing the work.
That was from my mom. My mom was like, if you break something, you're going to fix it. And she just started out us that way. If you put a hole in the wall, there was a place, there's Home Depot now, but it was something else when it first came out. And that store opened, and she said, well, I'm going to take you up there. And while I'm shopping, you go ask somebody how to fix that wall, and you're going to fix it. And she meant it. Yeah. And so we actually learned how to do some of those things that come with when you buy property. You can fix your own, do your own walls. You can do basic electricity. You can put floors in, and you can. Those things are they're not. It's just whether or not you want to do it.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk after this interview, because I've got some projects around my house that I really can use your help on.
The only people I do them for. I don't say no.
Just for yourself, right?
It's a lot. Oh yeah, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. Yeah, but that's very interesting and very impressive to me. That part for sure. All right, Dee. Thank you. We're going to take another quick break and be right back with more Dee Armstrong in just a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back, everybody. Today we are joined by our favorite longtime anchor here in Columbus, Dee Armstrong. Welcome back. Thank you so much for being with us, Dee.
I'm enjoying it. Thank you. I'm usually on the other side asking the questions.
I know, and it's kind of different being on that side. Before we went to break, you were talking about one of the things that you do outside of being on the news is the theater. You act, and you've also been involved in writing some plays. And it sounds like that's going to move forward and possibly get some national attention. Tell us more about that.
Yeah. Again, I had a friend who just asked, would you do something in my play? And this is years ago. And I said, sure, because in the back of my mind, I always wanted to do plays, and I loved doing them at church. And she was like up and coming, and I said, oh wow, this is an opportunity. And I did it, and she has used me ever since. So that's been like a dream come true. And the roles that she's given me, she gives me a little leeway to really become that person. And a couple of those roles, we have our fingers crossed. As a matter of fact, she's in contract negotiations today. And they're this time next year, we may be streaming.
Oh, wow.
Yes, so we may be streaming. So it's not a done deal, but they saw it, and they did ask for me in that role, and asked for a couple other people in the role after seeing her plays, And so I would be in one of those roles. So I'm super excited.
That's exciting.
I'm super excited.
From the news queen to perhaps the drama queen.
Because that role is drama. It's a 3-part series that she wrote, and I play Aunt Etta in Shenanigans.
Okay.
And Aunt Etta is a mess, and I just, oh gosh, I had so much fun being Aunt Etta. They hated me.
Love those roles. Well, we look forward to watching for that.
Yes, I hope it happens. I do hope it happens. God is good.
I talked with you a minute ago, Dee, and I was saying how I felt. It's you open doors for so many in this business, doing what you do in all of these years, 4 decades of it. How do you feel when someone say, like I say, you open doors for me. You're a role model for young journalists, particularly African-American journalists. Is that something, a role that you accept and are proud of and think is important?
I am. Even though I was working in newsrooms where they accepted me, I know that there were people who did not accept me, and they said it, and they let me know that they didn't accept me because I was consistently rated number one. They used to do these, who's the number one in the market, and I would be number one, and that bothered people. That would bother people. So when young people come in and they think, oh, lottie-dolly, it's like, no, honey, I went through a lot of junk for us to be accepted, and I don't know. So I don't know what that really means to me, but it would be nice if it were acknowledged sometimes. It wasn't easy a lot, and some of it was overt, and very, very strong. But God has given me the awesome ability to, and I know it has to be God, is just to be quiet, just to be quiet. That's something that I've always heard him say. So, there's a couple of times I could have done something loud and protest and that sort of thing. And I think in being quiet, that has allowed me to not shut doors, And so even though things did happen to me, I didn't protest and I didn't go out there complaining in the community. I kind of worked through it. And so if I tell some of those stories, people might not even believe them because they're like, oh, you didn't seem like you were going through that. But I was, But if you, being quiet and to me, allowing God to work through things. And so, and it works out.
And no one knows your struggle. I mean, people don't know what you may be struggling with. You're saying it's important to you when young people will accept it. It's important for you to be a mentor and to teach them. And to help them.
And you too. I'm sure you know this. That sometimes they don't understand. If you would just listen, I can help you jump further, faster, But there's some young people that are just grasping for anything they can get. Tell me, teach me. And there's some that come in that they think they already got it. So you can't teach everybody. But if you want to learn, if you want to hear it, I'll tell you, what I know. And then I always tell them, this is what I know. You're going to take this and just massage it and turn it into who you are. Yeah,
exactly. If you could talk to your, this is always one of those standard questions, but I think it's a good one. If you could go back and give your younger self any advice, what would it be?
I would say to be more deliberate in planning my life. Things happen, and I'm so grateful to God. There were mostly good things. Now, there were some awful things that happened, but I didn't really plan my life. I would have been a little more deliberate in planning things. So I think, because I don't think I planned much of anything. It just kind of happened. The acting, the TV, all of that just kind of happened. And I might have been further along had I planned, but when I was growing up, Barbara, I wanted to be like my mother. And my mother was like Miss Cleaver on Leave It to Beaver. She got up every day. She'd put her hair in a bun. She'd put on pretty clothes, around the house, and she'd put her apron on. And that's really was my ultimate goal, to be as cool as my mother.
Well, I think you're pretty cool.
So I didn't really plan this career move. I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to go. And I had calls. I had calls from Atlanta. I had calls from LA. I had calls from New York. Do you want to come? Do you want to come? But I had so many kids, and I said, no. My idea was when my youngest one got to be 12, and then I'd get another one, and then I'd get another one. So it never happened. So I had opportunities to go, but I never felt it was the right time.
Yeah. Well, we're happy that you stayed in Columbus. Because
Me too.
we got to enjoy you for all this time. It's been such a pleasure to talk to you, Dee, and get to know you even better and hear your story. It's wonderful.
Well, thank you. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for joining us. All right, well, that is going to do it for this edition of On the Record. I'm Barbara Gauthier. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time on The Record.